Hi everyone and welcome to the Gateless parking coding tutorial. This will be the first tutorial. I have decided to split this into sections because making a 10-hour long video just becomes boring. So I thought I'll just keep it to 1 hour long, then you guys can watch whatever interests you, and that way it's not going to be too boring. So with that out of the way, now number two is if you haven't watched the demo yet, go ahead and watch the demo. I'll put a link in the description just to get some motivation on what we are building. But what basically it is a gateless parking or smart parking kind of system, and we will be using machine learning to scan the license plate, and you will see how we can add different locations, adjust the pricing and all. Now what you can do is go ahead to my GitHub repo and grab the starting code. So this is basically just I created a Nextjs project with ShardCN already in. So you can go ahead from here and just do a git clone and clone this. As you can see in the public folder, I have put the images that we'll be needing. If you don't want to do that, then the other way is basically you can go ahead and that's what I've done, basically executed this command, right, to create the my Nextjs project with TypeScript, Tailwind and all. So that's all I've done, nothing fancy here. Anyways, with that done, I'm gonna put this right here. Okay, and let me minimize this. All right, cool. So now it says run the CLI. So we're going to add the ShardCN UI. And what I will do is I'll come here and we're going to do npx ShardCN -UI. Actually, I want to copy the npm. So I'll just come here and paste this. Okay, so that's going to add the ShardCN latest. So I'm just going to do default. And let's go with, yeah, we're just gonna go with Slate and just hit the defaults. Cool, so that's been added, and now it's gonna basically just do the configuration. We did that already, and then here's the font thingy. So let's go ahead and do that. So for that one, we need to go to the root, I guess, file. So let's open. So I'm gonna close this, and we're gonna go ahead and open the, let's see, the layout right here. Cool. So let's just see. I'm going to basically just copy this from here, font sans, and what we can do is, first of all, let's import cn from @lib, and it's going to be utils. So that's that. Then I'm going to copy this. We're going to paste this after, like that, and also saying what font sans. So we're just gonna copy this line and it's gonna go right here. Cool, so that takes care of that. And then for the body, so you know what I'll do, I'll just copy this whole body thingy, and then we're just gonna come here. I'm gonna bring this on next line and like that. Cool, so now I'm gonna save it. So that takes care of that. All right, so then they're saying to do the theme extend family, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's go ahead to the here, tailwind config.ts. Let's close this, and then let's go to theme, and then we're gonna go to extend. All right, so then there's a font family. Do I see font family here? Maybe not. So let's copy this. All right, and then I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so it's saying what font family, so let's just copy this line. Right, okay, so that's it. So that takes care of that, and then app structure, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's go ahead and add a button, because that's the first thing you do. And I'm gonna close this. We're gonna close that, and let's add a button. So if you've already done these things, by the way, ShardCN, then you can skip all that, but just in case somebody wants to know this, so we're doing it for them. All right, so if I come here to components, right here, UI button, and we have the same structure. So why don't we go ahead, fire this up. So I'm gonna bring in my terminal, and let's clear this. And we're gonna do npm run dev. Cool, so that's our dev server running. Let's expand this all the way, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to localhost 3000. Right, so this is our Nextjs project. Let's go to page.ts, and how about we just get rid of everything. Okay, I like so. And then what I can do is let's just copy their example. So if I come here, I'm gonna do div. Let's close this so we have more space, and then I will do button. Okay, so it's coming from component, and I will do click me. Cool. Let's save it and see what happens. Aha. All right. So Shadcn is fine. Everything is working. Now, one thing we need to do is configure the colors. So let's go to themes. I like this blue color thingy, so I want to do that. So you can just do customize blue right here. But I'm going to copy code, and it's all this code right here. So let's copy that. And this is going to go in your global.css file. So you're going to come to here and then find that global.css file right here. I'm going to close this. So as you can see, it's starting from this at layer base. So this is what we need to target. So I'm going to basically, let's see, all the way to dark. Okay, so I'm going to paste this here. We're going to save it, and let's see what happens. Aha, so now we have blue color. Cool. So theme has been set up. All right, so I don't need this. I'm going to get rid of that. All right, so in this first session, we're just going to cover the home screen. Hopefully, we'll get that done, and then we'll see how far we go. So let's go over here and let's create some structure. So in here, I'm going to create a kind of container folder, and we're going to call it guest. So this app will have an admin portion as well. So that's why I'm just keeping things a little bit separate like that. I'll take this page and I'll put it into the guest, and we'll say move. Okay, and we'll just say yes, and let's just make sure it compiles and works. Okay, I don't need to do anything here. I don't know why it's asking me to save that, but anyways, so I'm going to refresh. This is still working. Let's make sure there's no errors. Cool, console is clean. That's great. Okay, so this is my global layout file, but for each portion we're going to have its own layout file. So what I will do is I'll come here and we will create a new layout.tsx file like that. And then what I will do is I'll say rfce and I'll say guest layout. Okay, and I'm going to save it. So there you go, that's your guest layout. Okay, and then what we will do in this one is basically I'm going to come here, and what I will need is a banner. So I'm just going to type banner for now, and we'll get to it. And then the children. Let's close this. Okay, and children. I always spell this incorrectly like that. So what's children? Well, we need to come here. It's a parameter. If you know Next.js, you know, I mean React, we just need to pass that is. And then since we're in TypeScript, so we need to tell it what children is. It's basically a React.React node like that. So there you go, that's happy. I'm gonna hit save. So there you go, now the button is coming. All right, so what's a banner? Well, we need to create that. So for that, I will come here in my component, not the UI, but the component, and I'll create a new file. And we're going to call it banner.tsx. Since we'll be using this across different pages, so that's why I'm just going to create it here. And then it's going to be like that. Let's close this, and let's create a React function component, and we're going to call it a banner like that. All right, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to import this so that we can see the changes we will be making. Okay, let's hit save, and nothing happened. That's okay, because it's banner. Let's just do banners. Cool, so there you go, that's coming here. Awesome. All right, so what I will do is I'm just going to get rid of this, and I will do div.width-full. Okay, and mx-auto. Okay, and then I'm going to do bg-blue-500. Actually, just go with 600. And text-white. Cool, so that will take care of that. So if you have nothing in a div, it's just gonna basically show nothing. So we need to start putting stuff in it. So I'm gonna create another div. It's gonna be a flex, and we're gonna center the items. Okay, and justify, I'm gonna do a between. like that, and padding X of 8 and padding Y of 4. Okay, so I'm gonna save that. Cool. Okay, maybe I should just do a little bit of that. All right. Then I'm gonna create a header. That's just the HTML tag header like that. This one is wrong. All right, so then what I need to do, I'm going to create h1 with a class name of text.2xl and font dash bold and tracking of tight. Okay, and then on small and above, we're just going to do text of 4xl like that. And in here, I'm just going to do a link. So this will be next link. Okay, and this is basically our as you can say, you can put a logo here or whatever you want, but this is the name of the app, so it will be Gateless parking. And there we go, the first proper item of the app. So Gateless parking right here. So as you can see, the font changes for different screens like that. Awesome. All right, so we have that. And then what I will do is after the header, I'm going to create another div like that, and another div, and then so this is now we're going to create that menu item so that we can sign out, sign in, and all that stuff. All right. So for that, I will do a div and small and above, it'll be hidden, but otherwise it's flex and space dash x dash 2 and items dash baseline. Okay, like that. Now, so for this one, we would need to install the drop-down menu from Shadcn. So what you can do is come here, and we're going to go to components. You're going to then go over to drop-down menu, and that's the one I'm talking about. All right, so I'm just going to copy this, npm it. I'll come here and paste, and bam. Cool, so that's done. I'm going to close this, and then what I can do is I'm going to copy all this, and so if something is there already, don't waste time on it. I'm going to save it, and then we're going to come here and I'm going to copy all this, okay, and we're going to put it right here. So I'm going to hit Control AK and then F just to format the code, and let's see what we got. Okay, so since it's hidden or not visible, anyways, we'll deal with this, don't worry about it. So I'm just going to close this and let's see what's going on. So I got the drop down menu, I got the drop down trigger of open, and then I have the drop down content, okay, my account and blah blah blah, and let's see why it's not showing up. Okay, because it's hidden on small and above, but it's only visible on small screens. So I need to go here. There you go. Aha, as you can see, now things are coming up. All right, so I don't need all of them, but we just need some of them. So first of all, for this menu icon, trigger, sorry, I'm going to put a menu icon from Lucid React. So that's the icons. Okay, and let's see. So that's number one. So as you can see. All right, so then, okay, and then what we need is we have a drop down content. Okay, and so for here, actually, we will be putting a when we do the authentication, then we can add it at that time. But for now, what I will do is I'm just going to do a drop down item like that, and then in here we're going to have a button, and we're just going to call it, let's say, sign out or sign in, sign out or sign in button. So that will be that. So for example, when I come here, I have sign out or sign in. So for now, I've hard coded it, but as I said, when we get to authentication, then we're gonna have a proper sign in, sign out thing happening. Anyway, so I'm gonna then what I will do is I'll get rid of this separator. I don't need it here, and I think what I will do is I will put it on, well, I'll just leave it. Okay, so the other thing I need is, I don't need these. I'm gonna save it. What I need here is, let's just bring this here. I need a link here. Okay, and for now I'll just put a link to my bookings. So this doesn't exist yet, we'll create it, but I will say my bookings like that. So that's that, and then I will copy this and I'm going to paste this one, and this one I'll call dashboard, and we will say dashboard or admin. So we're gonna of course prevent this, like lock it so that only admins can access this. So we're gonna have roles. Actually, you will see how we can create roles, and then that will be accessed like that. So after this div, now we need to do something for big screens, right? Desktops. As you can see, currently I don't have anything, so let's take care of that. So what I will do is after this div, I'm going to create another div, and this will be hidden by default, but on small and above, it's going to be visible, gap-x-4, and items-center, like that. Okay, so I am going to create have a link. So what I'll do is I'll copy this link, the bookings one, and I'll paste it here, and let's see what we get. Cool, so there you go. So that's coming up, and I'm just going to copy this, and then this is going to go to the dashboard. I'm going to do dashboard, and we're going to do admin, like that. All right, so that's coming. All right. Okay, and then after that, definitely we will need the sign in and sign out. So I'll just do, let's say, sign out. Okay, and then obviously you need a sign in button. So, whoop, and I will do sign in. So the idea is when you're signed out, you're going to need a sign in button. When you are signed in, you're going to see the sign out button. But for now, I'm just going to display them like that. And actually what I should do is probably have it here also for the small screens. Okay, sign out, sign in. So we'll get to it when we do the authentication. I'm just going to leave it here for now, just a placeholder, so I remember we need to do that. Okay, and I would like to extend this a little bit. So then what I will do is I'll come down, and then right below this div, I will do a div of bg-blue-600 width-full, and then we're going to do height-20. Let's see what that does. So there you go. So I was kind of looking for this extended kind of, you can say, the banner. Cool. So I think we're done with the banner, and I can close this for now. We'll come back to it, and we can now start working on the front page. All right, so in here, I'm just gonna get rid of all of this, and I'll create a main, and we will call it on small and above. It's gonna be a container, like that. All right, so I'm gonna save. All right, and so what we will need here, let me just make a comment, is the main search form, right? So this is where the user, if you've watched the demo, this is where the user is gonna enter the address, the date, the time, and then they're gonna see a map and all. So this will be, that's basically the main component we have. But for now, I'm gonna put a placeholder, and let's just call it search form. Okay, so that's our search form, and I'll leave it for now. We're gonna get back to it, but let's go ahead and build the rest of the page, and we will come back to it. Okay, so I'm gonna create an H3. Okay, and it's gonna be text -2 XL, and on small and above it's going to be text -4 XL, font bold, text slate 500, padding top of 16, oops, and padding bottom of 16. Okay, and I'm going to do text center and uppercase, and tracking of wide, like that. Okay, that's a long list of class names actually, but what I want to type here is I can say there is always a spot available. Cool, so that's what I want to type. There is always a spot available. We're telling people you'll be never left behind. Let's create a section. Okay, and then it's going to be hidden. We don't want to show this on mobiles, just on large devices, and I'm just going to do block and padding top of 16 and padding bottom of 32. Okay, so that's that. All right, so then what I want to do is I'm going to create a class. It's going to be grid, and then I'll do grid and grid dash calls, 3 columns I'm going to be creating, and then I'll do place dash items dash sender, like that. All right, so you know what I'll do? I'm going to expand this a bit, and so you can see it in more action, like that. All right, so then what we have inside is I'm going to do a div flex dash column, okay, and items dash center, like that. Okay, and then another div. It's going to be a lot of divs, by the way, so I hope you're ready for that. Okay, and that's going to be flex dash column. Okay, for this one I'm going to do bg blue 500 text dash white. Whoop. Okay, and it's going to be a relative. Okay, and justify dash center and items dash center and rounded dash full. You will know why. It's going to be have a width of 12 and height of 12, like that. Okay, and then what we will do inside of it is I'm going to put a p, and let's just call it 1. Okay, and let's do a refresh. Now it's not going to show anything here because remember we said this should only be visible on, let's see, large. So if I change this to, let's say, medium, then there you go. So we can see it. We'll change it. For now I'm just going to leave it at that so we can see what the heck is going on. So this is your that. So now what I want to do is I want to have like a nice halo kind of effect. Well, not a halo, but like some kind of white border. And you will see there's a reason for it, very specific reason for it. When I do it, I'll show you guys. So now I'm going to show you guys how we can do this pseudo class name thingy in Tailwind. It's kind of painful actually, if you ask me, and you will know why. Okay, so anyway, so let's do font dash bold, like so, nice and bold. All right, and then what I will do is I'm going to start with the pseudo class thingy. As I said, it's painful because you got to do this after with every kind of style you have to do. So I'm going to do content dash, like that. Whoop, you need to do single dash. Okay, all right, and then what we're gonna do is you do after, and it's gonna be an absolute. So I will do the absolute, and then what you do after, and I will do minus left. So basically minus from left, we're gonna do 2, and then what I will also do is after and minus top dash 2, like that. So I'm gonna refresh just to make sure everything is okay, and then after I will do width. Whoops, width dash 16. Okay, and then after height dash 16, like that, and after then I'm just going to do a -1. There's a reason why we're giving it a negative z index, which will be apparent when we do this. So I'm going to go to the next line so we can see what the heck is going on, and then I will do rounded dash full, like that, and after finally bg dash gray, and I have chosen 100, like that. So that's what, so this, all this after that we did was for this ring right here, right? So if I make it more apparent, let's say 600, you can see it's more darker, but 100 actually works well. Whoop. Works well for us. Cool. So now that we have that, so that gets us the 1, and I will come to next line, and then I will create a p and padding top of 2, text dash slate dash 500, like that, text dash large, okay, and tracking dash wide. Okay, and what do we put inside of here? I'll say enter your destination. So that's that. So we have entered your destination thingy. All right, so that takes care of this one div. And then what I will do is I will copy this whole thing and I will just paste it. All right, and then we will come here and let's see. So that was 1. This will become 2, and this will be pick date and time, like that. So there you go, that's that. And I will copy this thing now one more time. I'll bring it down here. This will be 3 now. Okay, and we will call it pick a spot, like that. So we want to tell people how easy it is to basically book this, use this system. So enter your destination, pick date and time, and pick a spot. Now, we would like to now have a line that kind of goes across, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So the way we do this is you can have a line after each one, but it's going to be very complicated, I guess. So the easiest way is you just do it on this one, last one, kind of shift it, and that'll work. So I'll show you guys how we can do this now. For that, we're going to use the before pseudo class. So I will do content like that. I always put this one. All right, and then what I will do is before I will do absolute, okay, and then before I will do a width of 1000 pixel like that. Okay, so far nothing will happen because we need to color it and all. Then what I will do is I will do before minus z minus 10. I will do that, and before I will do top dash a half, and before I will do height dash 2 pixel. Okay, like that. And then also what I will do is I'll do before minus left minus 920 pixel. Finally, we're just going to give it a color so we can see what the heck is going on. Blue dash 500. All right, so you're gonna have this, but if I go to large screen, it's fine. That's why I was hiding it on. I was only showing this on large screens, and I was hiding it on small screens or mediums. But one thing you can do, since you're using Tailwind CSS and you have the power of breakpoints, so what you can do is, let's say this will only apply on medium and above, right? Like that. Actually, yeah. And then what I will do is for anything smaller than that, we're just gonna go with, let's say 720. I don't know if that helps. And let's see, how about 700? Let's do refresh. Okay, so that's fine on large. It's not working on this. Let's see why. And I think we need to do this. Yes, right. So on large and above, we're doing a 920, but on anything below that, we're just doing that. But see, if I go large screens, I'm here, but anything below that, we hide on mobile, but on tablets at least you can see the full line. So you can also, if you want, change the width. So for example, here is 1000 we did. So if I do 800, but then you would have to shift this also. So you get the idea. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it like that. And what I will do is I am going to do this. And what I will also do is, remember how we had before here the large and medium. So let's see, it was, if I can only find it, sorry, it was right here. So I'm going to do large. Cool. So there you go. So now this will only be visible on desktops, and we don't want to show this on tablets or anything below that. All right, so that takes care of this one. And now what we need is the stuff after this. So that's this section. I'm going to hide it, and then let me close this here. What I will do is I'm going to come here and we're going to create h2 and text dash 2 XL, and small and above I'm going to have text of 5 XL, and text dash center and padding bottom of 32, and text dash slate dash 500. Okay, and then it's going to be no more running around looking for a parking spot. Cool, so that's that. So let's expand this and see. Cool, so no more running around looking for a parking spot. I hope I didn't make a spelling mistake. If I did, please yell at me in the comment section. All right, so then we're going to have one more section, if I can spell. Okay, and then in this section I'm going to create a div Oops, sorry, I should be clicking the right place. I'm going to create a div. Okay, I'm not going to now type the class name because you guys got the hang of it. So maybe I'll just take it from my notes, because honestly I think it's boring just watching somebody typing a bunch of class name. But all I'm doing is padding bottom, padding top of 16, full width, absolute, left 0, small and above. We have a background, a map. I'm going to show you guys what this is. So it's all the properties on an image basically, and 600 opacity and blah blah blah. That's what we have. So now what the heck is this bg map? So for that we're gonna go to our, so remember, as I said, if you guys get the code from the GitHub, or if you just go to GitHub repo, I have this map bg, right, background. So you guys can get that from there, put it in the public folder. Okay, and then you're gonna basically come to your tailwind.config.ts, and then in the extend, what I will do is I will come here and I'll say background image, like that, and we're going to create map, and I will do URL, and it's going to be map-bg.png, like that. And let's not forget to put a comma here. So map-bg.png, that's the same file that I have here. So I just want to make sure name is same. I'm going to close this, and that's why I'm saying bg-map. So background, and map is the name that I used here. I'm calling it map. All right, so that's all it is. All right, so I'm going to save this, and as you can see, it's coming. Okay, and there's a nice hint of blue or tint of blue on top. I'm going to close this. Then within here, what I'll do is I'll create a div, and it's going to be a grid dash column z dash 1. And let me just quickly type this. Okay, like that. And then what I have is another div. I am not typing this because at this point it's just repetitive. So it's basically a div with a zinc, text zinc of 600. It's a flex, and I should be doing this. Text center and text dash left. Okay. Oops. So what I will do is I'm going to put this here, and then inside of it I'm going to put a P, and I will say fully responsive. Okay, so that's what I have here, fully responsive. And then of course we need to beautify this. I'm going to copy this once, not thrice, and we can say something like it feels just like a mobile app. Okay, so of course we need to just work on this text a little bit. So I will add some class names here, and we can do like this. So all I'm saying is basically 3XL, on small and above is 4XL, font of bold. Then for the one below it, what we can do is just say, just give it some padding, tracking tight, and that's all we have. So let's format this. Okay, and then I have this, and what I will do is in here, okay, since we're creating a grid, so within this grid is what I will do is I will create a div, and padding top of 8, and then small and above padding top of 0. So what do we put inside? I'm going to put an image. Make sure you put the next image, like that, and let's give it an alt. Okay, and we'll say mobile screenshot, like that. I'm gonna give it a width of, let's say, 320. Okay, and height of 400. Okay, and we need to give it a source. So the source will be Gateless parking mobile.png. Okay, whoa, this should be a self-closing one. You don't need to put an image end tag, like that. I'm gonna save it, and let's see. All right, something happened. So let's take a look. So that's for mobile, and as you can see, that's our desktop. Let's make sure. Okay, so that's our desktop view right there. So that's, I wanted this to expand the full width of our viewport or browser window. And then when we go mobile, that's mobile. Okay, so one thing I see is that it's not center. So what I would like this to be is in the center. So let's see where the problem is. Let's expand this and let's see where we made a mistake. Can I do items dash center? Sorry, it should be place item center. Place items center. Cool, so there you go. So that places it in the center. And if I go here, aha, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now I want this only to be on small and above. So actually no, small and below. So what I'll do is by default should be this, but then on small and above, whoa, on small and above, place items, let's say start. Let's see what that does for us. Cool, that's correct. Okay, so on small and above on desktop, I am here, but when I go, let's say mobile, then it's in the center. I like it. As you can see, we remove the background also. I don't want that. So cool. So that's that. And let's add that footer now. So I think that footer we can add it probably just right here. So if I come here, I can add the footer here. Now for the footer, what we can do is create another component. So not in the UI, but we'll create a new file, and I will do RFCE, and I'm just gonna say footer, and then in here let's just bring in the footer from here like that. Save it. There you go. That's my footer. And let's close this and let's go back to the footer and let's get cracking. All right, so we have a div. It's going to be padding top of 16 and padding bottom of 16 and bg dash black. Okay, and padding bottom, padding dash 4 overall, and text dash white like that. Close it. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll create a div. Now I'm going to create a grid because we just want to place the items in a grid. So if I come here, basically I have a grid. I have 2 columns on mobile, but on anything above I'm creating 3 columns, and on small and above screens I'm placing item center with a gap of 2. So that's that. And then I will come here and do flex and flex dash column. Okay, and gap dash y dash 1, and small and above I'm doing a gap of y dash 2 like that. And then I'll create a p tag, and let's just call it contact us. So let's see if we have something. Here we go. So that's the footer, contact us. That's coming nicely. One thing I will do for this one is I will create, no, not that, class name, and I will do font dash bold. Okay, so there you go. That's a little bit of bold, and text dash large. All right, there you go. So that's a bit of a nice text. And what I will do is I'm going to copy this, but I don't need all of this, right? So we're going to get rid of this and this. So for this one, I will say, let's say about us. And for this one, what I will say is support. There you go. So that's coming there. And then what I can do is I'm going to copy this. Now, why is it giving error? Because, you know, sometimes VS Code has this weird thing. So if you just do, I do Command Shift P on Windows, you have to do Control Shift P. And if you just do a reload window, that goes away. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this. Okay, and let's just see. So there you go. That's coming there. For this one, what I will do is I'm going to say resources. Okay, I want to make sure this is like a complete web app, so that's why I'm doing all these for you guys, and I hope you guys are appreciating this by liking, subscribing, and sharing, I guess. Privacy policy. There we go. So that's that, and we're gonna do this one, and let's just call it terms of services or something like that. Okay, so that's coming here. Now, what about the third one? We need one more. So I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, and so this one, I'm just gonna do basically sign up for news. Okay, and we will do the and ampersand offers. Okay, so there you go, that's coming here. And for this one, we need the input. So how do we get the input? So you go to ShatCN, and let's expand this. So we're gonna come to input. So that's the input I'm talking about. I'm gonna copy this, and we're gonna install it or add it. All right, with that done, I'm gonna close it. We're gonna come back here, and let's go back to here, and then I am going to take all of this, and I'm going to do input. So remember to get the right one. So UI input, okay, and just give it a placeholder of email, and this is self-closing. And then here I will do a button, UI button, and let's just do subscribe. Cool. So there you go. So that's the footer. If I expand it, then as you can see, it beautifully lines up and it looks good on all screens. So fully responsive. Cool. All right. So with that done, let's actually what we can do is I think we can create a placeholder for the search form to finish this front page. So let's lay out the groundwork that we need here, right? All right, so let's close the footer. We're done with this. And let's see. So here's the search form that we were talking about. And let's tackle that. All right, so what I can do is I can come here and to the components, and we'll create a new file. And I will call it search dash component.tsx. Like that, and let's just do this, and I will say search component. Okay, like that. And then what I will do immediately is come here and I'll say search component so that we can see the changes. All right, so that should have, there you go. So search component is here. Let's just bring this here. I'm going to bring this here so we know we can see what's going on. All right, so in the search component, I'm gonna jump in right here, and we're gonna get cracking. So first things first, this thing will be a client component because you just cannot do search on the server. Why? Because we need interactivity. We need to be able to capture the inputs and blah, blah, blah. All right, so what I will do is I will create a div, and it's gonna be flex dash column, and I'm gonna push this up a little bit. And just for aesthetics, nothing fancy, I need to do a dot here, dot here. Okay, and then width dash full. And what I will do is padding dash 4, padding y dash 10, item start, and gap dash x dash 2, rounded, a little bit of rounded, sprinkle a little bit of rounded, bg dash gray dash 50. I like so. And also what I will do is I will do ring dash 1, just give it a ring, and ring inset. Okay, and ring dash gray dash 900 over 5, like that. So let's save it, and this is basically what I'm after, this whole thing. Cool. And let's just make sure I'm gonna come here. And then what we need here is the search form. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to come here, and I am going to create a new component, a new file, sorry, and I'm going to call it search form.tsx, like that. And then I'll do RFCE, and we will say search form, save it, and I'll come back here and I'll do search form. Cool, so search form is here, and let's get cracking at the search form. All right, so for this we will need to install form and all that, but we'll install it as we go along. Let's not jump ahead. Cool. So let's come here, and let's lay it on the foundation. Okay, so it's going to be a div flex. Okay, and I want to have everything in a column, and on large and above it's going to be flex dash row, like that. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll create another div grid gap dash y dash 1.5, large and above I'm just going to do 1.5, like that. All right, so that's that. Okay, I need a label. Now what the heck is a label? We need to install it. So what I will do is actually come here, and if I go to form comes with a lot of stuff. Okay, so first of all I'll come here and I will install form, and let's see what this brings for us. Okay, I don't know if there was a label thingy, but if I come here to my component UI, as you can see, install label, form, and all that. So that's exactly what we need. And I'm gonna close this. Whoop, close this. And then I can come here, and now if I come here now do label, aha, there you go. Now label is coming for me. And what I will do is I'll say address. Okay, there we go. And we will do HTML4, let's be nice, and we say parking at. All right, and then I need an input. Okay, it's coming from UI component, and we will call ID of, let's say, parking at. Okay, and placeholder, I'll say address. Address, just say address. That's enough, don't need to be too fancy. So there you go, that's our, if I click here, that's what HTML4 is for. So that's that. All right, so now we need a form, and where we can put the different fields, actually the date and all that. So what I can do is I can create a form. Okay, UI form. We will be installing React hook forms and all, and that's how it's going to take care of that. So you know what, while we are here, how about we install that? So how about we come here and we do React hook form. Forms or from, I don't know, getting started, I guess. Okay, here, so npm install, copy it, come here, open, install, boom. So that installs React hook form. And I think with that we should also install Zod and zoo stand and all that. So what I will do is also npm install Zod and zoo stand, and what else? I think that's it. So let's just see. Cool, so that I have been installed, and now we can close this. I can close this, go back here, and then we can basically get cracking. So let's come here and create the schema and all. All right, so to create the schema, one thing I'm realizing, this should be dot. Yeah, there you go, that subtle thing. So we need to import Z from Zod. Okay, one thing I like is this should go on a shirt, actually. That'll look pretty cool, actually. Anyway, so what I can do is I can create the schema, and we can say const type to quick form schema is equal to z.object. Now mind you, I'm creating this for now for the placeholder. We're going to change this later a little bit. So I can skip the address for now, but what I can add is arriving on, and for now I'm going to make it a string. Okay, and we will call required error to be date is required. So for now this is string, but later on we're going to change this to a date, because ideally it should be a date. And arriving time z.string. Okay, and then a required error will be time is required. Okay, and then what I will do is I'm going to copy this, we're going to just duplicate it, and then this is going to be called leaving time, and it's the same thing, time is required. So we will also need one more thing, which is the GPS codes. You know what, while I'm here I can just do GPS codes for now. This is going to be an object, and it's going to have a latitude, which is z.number, and a longitude z dot number. So when we integrate the Google Maps, the address autocomplete, we're going to get the GPS course, and this is where we're going to do the address search, the geo coordinate, geofencing, and all. So that's what we're using this here. So for now, what I'll do is comment this so we don't get any issues. All right, so that's that. And then what I can do is I can come here. I can say const form is equal to use form, and I will do basically z dot infer type of, no, it should be type of, should be form schema, like that. Okay, and then the resolver will be zod resolver. Okay, and it's going to be on this form schema. And what I can do for now is just give default values. Leaving time, I'm going to set that to empty. Save that. Let's come here and spread this on this guy so that we get this guy satisfied. Let's create this form. All right, so that takes care of that. I will also create a onSubmit function, and form data is going to be type of form schema, like that. And what I will do for now, for starters, let's just console log it form data, right? So I want to see what we're submitting. So let's refresh and make sure this is okay. All right, and one thing I will do is I'll say form.handle. I think it should be on submit. Yes, it should be form.handle submit, and we pass our submit function like that. So now on this form, I just would like to add a little bit of CSS class, and it's basically all I'm saying, just give it a gap, make it a grid. On mobiles, it's going to be one column, but on above, screen large and above, it's going to be 4 columns, and just some gap and items are to the end. All right, so we're going to come here and I'm going to create the form field, okay, like that. And this is self-closing, so we can do that. And you want to give it the control, so this is going to be form.control, like that. Okay, and then what we can do is we give it a name. That's important. So this will be arriving on. Okay, that's how it knows which field we're talking about. And finally, a render function. And for this render function, you give it a param of field. Okay, and then the function. And what you want to do is I'm going to create a form item. Okay, and just give it a class name, and on large and above I want to give a width of 250 pixels. So 250 pixel, like that, and let's just make it grid. All right, and then I will also give it a form label, and I will call it arriving on. Okay, and then don't forget your form control. Okay, and then in here I'm going to put an input, and you want to spread the field on it. Okay, and for placeholder, let's just say date. Okay, so there you go. So arriving on is here. Let's just expand this. So that's there, that's that. So that's coming nice. Let's just go and inspect this to make sure there are no errors. So far, no errors. And what I will do is I'm going to copy this. So this for the time, and that's for arriving time, and this will be leaving time. Okay, so there you go. So this is our that, and this will be start. I'm gonna call this end. Cool. Okay, and one thing we should do, just add a button. Let's call it submit. And I think it doesn't know where to bring the button from, so here. And what I will do is I'll give it a type of submit. I'm gonna save it. Let's see. Cool. So that, there you go. So that's working. Arriving on. We need to. Okay. We're getting this error. A component is changing. Blah blah blah. Okay. So in this case, what we can do is, let's see. For now, what I will do is I am going to arriving on, I'm going to give it a default value. Arriving time, I'm going to give that a default value. I'm going to save this. I'm going to refresh. Let's see. Cool. So that's good. So I'm going to say date, start, end. All right, cool. So there you go. So the form is working and we're getting our values. So as I said later on, this will be a completely custom component because we want to do the Google address autocomplete. So that's going to be that. And that's why it's separate out of the form. We're going to add the GPS coordinates, and then this date field will be a custom component. And either way, this start and end time will also be custom time select components. But at least now we have the framework in place. And as you can see, the form is coming in nicely. And let me just expand this. So this will basically, as you can see, the home page is done. Then we can move on to the next part of it. Bye for now.